Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another review of Sisters. We're on season 7, episode 21, entitled Penultimate. This is the episode before the season finale. Next week is the season finale. And if you've been watching the reviews for a while, you know by the time we get to the season finale, I'm exhausted. And I am exhausted. But I'm a little bit more interested this time than I have been in other season finales, because I'm looking forward to seeing who is going to get Gary off the planet. That is what I'm looking forward to. Either way, we pick back up with Andy storming, with Jordan storming into Andy's office and demanding answers on what the hell is really going on. Was our relationship, and he was asking her, like, this is the dialogue they're having. Hey, was our entire relationship like some sick joke to you? And she's like, of course not. And he was like, what happened? Like, what changed? And she was like, listen, this isn't easy for me to say to you, Jordan. And he's like, listen, I want the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, but she can't do it. She's making this ultimate sacrifice and she has to keep the story going. So she tells him, listen, it's Gary. I love him. I thought I could let it go, but the more we hang out with him and Penelope, the more I realize that I still love him. Blah, blah, blah. Bull crap, right? And he's kind of halfway between buying what she's saying, but he's leaning closer to not really buying it. He knows that Gary must have something over her head, and he's not going to stop. He's not going to rest until he finds out what it is. Hopefully not to his demise or to his detriment, but that's where we end that at. And she, as he's storming out, she yells out to him like, hey, just leave it alone. Just let it go. In a last-ditch effort to kind of save him from himself, for lack of a better term. Okay. It is procedure day for Sabrina, and Karen is calling her, just to make sure she's up, she's in good spirits, she's comfortable, all that good stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm good. And so Karen calls Sabrina, if I didn't say that. And then she's like, I hope you're not having second thoughts, like you sound a little apprehensive. And she's like, no, I'm not having second thoughts about freezing my embryos, but I kind of wish that it was with the man that I was dating. And not some coworker that's doing me this great favor. Very generous, kind person, but I kind of wish it was a person that I'm dating. Okay, cool. And then Karen reminds her, like, hey, it's fine. You may not have Rich there with you in support, but your girls will definitely be there for you, which tells us, all the girls are going to go there and cheer their homegirl on and make sure, she gets through this with as least discomfort as possible. All right, Damani knocks on the door, and we see him there bright and early with some flowers in hand to make things that much more comfortable for Sabrina to go through this process. So, Damani got about, he on the scoreboard, he's got about 10 points, and Rich has about -3, but whatever. All right, so we're at the shop, and Trey shows up talking to Karen, and she's giving him the cold shoulder, like, boy, what is it that you would like to speak with me about? Like, she doesn't have any words for him. And he thinks that it's about Pam and the fact that she's not cutting her in on the company, and she's like, no. She goes on to confront him about seeing him kissing the girl down at the grocery store and whatever. And he said that me and Pam haven't agreed to be exclusive just yet, so ain't really nothing to run down on me about. And while I agree. I'll say I agree. I agree. No one has talked about exclusivity. We haven't put things clear for us, and that's cool. But the fact that you slobbing both of them down grosses me out. But that's just me. I'm a prude in certain aspects, so whatever. Okay. And so she's like, listen, I might be mad at her right now, but I don't want to see her hurt. Like, if this ain't what you're doing, if this ain't what you're feeling right now, she's falling pretty fast for you. So you need to let her know where you stand so that she doesn't get her hopes up. And I respect that. And what I will say, friendship wise, is this is the most honorable thing, in my opinion, that Karen has done for a friend. Now, if you have another example that I don't recall, drop it in the comments. But it was honorable to know, like, hey, we beefing right now, but I still don't want to see my friend hurt. So go ahead and let her, put her up on game or leave her alone. So I appreciated that about Karen. Okay. Danny is talking to her therapist, and she's playing hooky from work because she has that appointment with Sabrina. And she, talking to her therapist about Sabrina. She's like, yeah, she's going to do the extraction, the embryo freezing process. And she's like, I don't really know why anybody would want kids. Honestly, like, if you have to deal with everything that I've been dealing with, girl, I don't know why people sign up for it. And then she tells the therapist about everything that had gone on since Major Tiffany, ex-wife Tiffany, showed up. And she also tells the therapist, like, girl, we got a lot to talk about, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to help me before I go ahead and put these paws on Tiffany. Like, you need to go ahead and talk to her before I put my hands on her. So yeah, and they go into having their full on session, and luckily she's able to talk Danny off of the cliff. We're just going to make that assumption. Okay. Fatima's trying to console Andy because she has had a breakdown. Because Fatima, she can get the real answers out of Andy and the real emotion. And she knows, like, listen, between tears, she knows, like, Fatima's trying to console her and tell her, like, everything's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. And she's telling Fatima, like, no, it's not going to be okay. I still have to marry Gary. This is the only thing I can do to protect Jordan. I got myself into this. This is what I deserve. This is what I've earned. Whatever. And she was like, Gary is going to own me now. This is the only thing he've ever wanted to do is own me. And this is the fate I've earned just by being in contact. This is my fault. This is all between tears and snot bubbles and all that good stuff. And Fatima's like, again, Fatima's my type of girl, because come hell or high water, it's not happening. If I'm on your team, I'm on your team. It just is what it is. If I have to go down with the Titanic, I can't swim, and that's fine. It just is what it is, within limits. But Fatima, slow down. Fatima is telling her, like, girl, I'm not gonna let it go down like that. And she, of course, is working up on a scheme, and we know that that's going to involve her cousin Madam, because we got to get Gary. We got to get him out of here. Like, it's just too much damage. All of our hands are tied, and we got to be done with him. So she's going to call in a favor that's going to happen by the end of the episode. Okay. Zach goes to Karen's apartment to put the cribs together. I don't know who told him or whatever. He gets there at the same time. Well, he gets there, but Karen's not there. She's already gone off to the egg freezing process with Sabrina, but Miss Lisa's there, which is Karen's mom. But we also see that Aaron is also there, and they've ordered the exact same crib, and now they have to work together to get these cribs put together, to get these things done, which is just a foreshadowing. It's a foreshadowing for the fact that we're going to constantly run into these two together, because they're both the dads. They both plan on being active and involved. And so we're going to have differences of opinion, different strengths. But we'll get into that when Miss Lisa talks to them about that later on in the episode. Okay. We're at the shop, and Trey runs into Pam, and, they're small talking. And he does kind of agree with Karen about how Pam built her business. And then he also reminds her, it is off of Karen's money, off of Karen's kind gestures as your friend, so I think you should cut her in. And she's like, are you taking her side? And he's like, no, I'm not taking her side, but I just want you to see it from her perspective. Like, she also has a perspective. She also has the dog in the fight. Just think about it that way. And he also reminds her, like, while we are on the conversation, while we're on the topic of Karen, I also want to remind you that she's a good friend. And he's saying that to say, because she recently kind of confronted me. She kind of ran down on me about me seeing old girl Tamika, whatever her name is, I'm just giving her name, down at the Piggly Wiggly. And it seems like Pam knew about her too, because she's wondering, like, well, how the hell did Karen know about her? And Pam, he's like, she saw me down at the grocery store, saw me, with her or whatever. And, that's how we got here. And Pam realizes, like, dang, I was trying to call her jealous and whatever I was trying to say for Karen, but it seems like, at least in this instance, she was really trying to look out for me. And Trey tells Pam, like, listen, while we're in the conversation of, her spotting me with somebody else, I want to propose to you us being exclusive. Like, this is where I want to be. Let's just make it exclusive. Let's just be one-on-one. And now Pam and Trey are the exclusive couple. Pam is going to probably mind her business a little bit more in season 8, because now she got a man. Maybe. We'll see. What I will say is I did not see that going off like that. I really thought that I really thought that Karen was going to at least entertain Trey for a little while, but I guess she passed him to the homie. Question mark. I don't know. That's what you thinking, right? Is it just me? Just put it down in the comments. Okay. Now that that's squared away, then he goes back to the advice and tells Pam, "Hey, I think you should break Karen off a little bit of that money, because you owe her that." And so we are to assume that she agrees, and so that's what's going to happen to clear all of that up. All right, so Sabrina's sitting there telling Damani how glad he is that he's helping her to realize a dream that she's had for quite some time. She's just appreciative. Nothing personal really happening. You can kind of tell that Damani's feeling her, but Sabrina is also kind of blind in the roots sometimes and not realizing that the man is actually hitting on her, I don't think. Anyway, then Rich shows up at the door, and of course she can't just leave him standing outside. She opens the door and he instantly has an attitude about her being in her pajamas. I mean, there are PJs, but they're very nice and luxurious. Like, there's nothing exposed. There's nothing inappropriate about said pajamas. Anyway, talking to a supposed colleague. Now, from the outside looking in, I can see. Let me throw Rich a bone and see how it appears like, oh, you said he was just a colleague doing an interview, but I done ran into him and you on multiple occasions, unnotified, unaware, intimate settings, all this good stuff. There is a statement out there that some people go by that perception is reality, or can be perceived as reality. And so I can kind of see where that could be a problem, but whatever. You know, Rich is annoying me at this moment, so I'm really not on his team. Okay. Anyway, now he's putting some macho on. He's putting some bravado on it. And Sabrina asks him, like, "Hey, are you mad because Damani is being considerate? Like, what is the issue?" And he kind of bucks at her a little bit. He's like, "Girl, like, no, the issue is, like, this sperm don't, like, all of this it's a lot." And so Sabrina apologizes to Damani as he's leaving because things are about to get heated. And then Rich storms out too. He's like, "Girl, I keep you in mind, you know, hold your head," or whatever. Which, for it to be such a passionate argument, you changed your mind by the end of the episode. So by the time she could get dressed and go to the appointment, you had changed your mind. You're now in love and you want to be the sperm donor. We'll talk about it by the end of the episode, but you changed your mind very much quickly, my guy. But whatever. Tamara and Hayden are going at it. They're going at it. They're going back and forth. They throwing darts at each other. They blaming each other. Blah, 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 blah. He is still denying everything about Miss Willis. And he also tells her, like, "Listen, it's giving hit dog hollering." Which means you're also guilty. So you trying to reverse psychology. Both of them trying to flip both of them on each other when they both guilty. Ended this episode. Ended this season. I just can't be bothered with these two nutcases. Anyway, he also tells her, like, "Listen, you don't want getting secret phone calls and secret text messages and you attach to that phone at the hip. Let me see that phone. Let me check that phone." And she's like, "No, sir, you cannot. Absolutely not. We're not talking about me. We're talking about you." And so she's not having it, and he storms out. And then when he leaves, Fatima immediately puts that shoe in the door. She was like, "No, ma'am, we need to have a conversation, my girl, because you thought you was rid of me." Anyway, she's there for some answers. Not that she really gives a damn about her and Hayden's relationship actually working out, but to see what role he plays in Andy's demise by way of him being in friendship with Gary, right? And so she's like, "Listen, girl, I ain't really got the space to deal with you today, but I need to know something from you." And then Tamara reminds her, "Listen, I don't work for you anymore. I gave you my resignation papers, whatever." And she's trying to convince Fatima, like, "Listen, I fell in love with DeMarc, you know, with the person I was supposed to set up, and it is what it is." And she was like, "Girl, I don't care nothing about that. All I need to know is why y'all were yelling when you saw him with Miss Marie." And she's like, you know, that's basically not really giving her a straight answer or whatever. And Fatima's like, all I really need to know is if Hayden is in on the plans that Gary has for Andy. He has a lot of plans to ruin my friend's life. He got her, you know, in a tight place. And I need to know if Hayden has a role in that. That's all I need you to tell me. Yay or nay. That's all. And so Tamara doesn't really give her a solid answer one way or another. And I don't think that she's so intimately involved with Gary and Hayden's conversation to even know what the answer is. But she's giving shade because that's just where she at. She feel like she's got an upper hand because she's turned her mark into a trick, if you know what I mean. Okay. And then she decides she want to fluff her feathers out like she's a peacock, right? And she tells Fatima, Tamara tells Fatima, like, listen, I wouldn't be worried about Gary being obsessed with Indy anymore because he's getting some new cheeks elsewhere. All right? Basically trying to boast without, trying to brag without saying, like, oh, he clapping these cheeks now, for lack of a better term, so Andy ain't even on his radar. And Fatima's looking like, reading between the lines, and she's like, I'm clocking it. I'm clocking it. So you gave me what I needed to know. You still got an attitude. I wish the best. I hope you get the day I hope you get the day and the life that you deserve. And that's a good read. That is a good read. I love when somebody tells somebody, I hope you had the day that you deserved. You deserve. Because if you're a shitty person, I hope your day is just as shitty as it could be. If you're a ray of sunshine, I hope, you find a treasure at the end of the rainbow. That's just me. Either way. Moving right along. Danny goes to Andy's office. And she is much like Fatima in the fact that she ain't buying this whole I'm in love with Gary situation. We about to get married. And she's like, girl, what's really going on? Like, you were just deeply, madly in love with Jordan. What changed? Like, what's the problem? And so Danny wants her to explain herself because, again, she didn't buy it much. Like, I don't think any of the other girls buy it, but Karen has enough on her plate. Sabrina's too even keeled to kind of push up on her and actually push for the answers. So we got the two pit bulls that's really going to get pit bulls that's going to get to the bottom. And that's Fatima and that's Danny. And she doesn't, she's sticking to her guns, but she's so unable to say it with her chest that we all know that it's a facade. And she was like, Danny's like, look me in my eyes and tell me. And she can barely do it. We already know, like, it's a facade and it's not happening. And I'm glad that she has friends in her life that's going, like, not put some aggression on it, but not take the first answer as the honest answer when you know the person well, when you know her well enough to know that there is an underlying answer. And sometimes somebody needs your friend or somebody that has a vested interest in your well-being to dig deep enough for the answer, if that makes sense. So I'm glad she has somebody that's willing to go above and beyond to get the actual answer. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, y'all. I've had a lot of Prosecco. Okay. All right. Jordan goes to see Rich. Right? No. Before he goes to see Rich, he goes to talk to Gary, and he's handing out threats. Of course, Gary is not buying it. And he's, just giving him a warning like, hey, I don't know what you have on Andy, but I'm going to find out. I got your number. Like, everybody, again, wants Gary off the planet, and you can go ahead and add me as the second person in line that also wishes that for him. The character, not the real guy, Okay. Jordan goes to Rich, and, he's expressing everything that's going on. And Rich reminds him about the election and not being able to afford another scandal at this time. Like, just settle down. And he don't give up about none of that at this point. And so we get the three guys, and we're going to hear all their women's woes, their trouble with their women that they're having. And Rich is concerned because he needs to stop Sabrina falling in love with Damani. And so Jordan's angst is that Andy, the love of his life, is about to marry somebody out of force, right? Rich's issue is that Sabrina, love of his life, is about to fall for someone else because they're more compatible, they have more chemistry, and he's willing to give her what she desires, right? My issue with Rich is the fact that I can't be convinced that you might love, you might be in love, you might be all these things, but I don't think that you're so moved to do it because it's something that you truly desire for you and Sabrina as a partnership, as opposed to competition against Damani. If that makes sense. I think the issues are conflated, and while both can exist, I think your angst to outdo Damani weighs higher than your true desire to be that to and for Sabrina. Okay. All right. Then Tony comes in complaining about his ex-wife issues with him and Danny. And they both looking like, sir, I don't know how you made it out alive because Danny don't play that with nobody. But whatever. Everybody got girl troubles. And I just feel like I don't know the timelines. I don't keep up with timelines. But I don't feel like y'all been dating long enough to have this deeper issue. But here we are. Okay. We're at the fertility clinic, and Maurice assumes that they're going to be co-parents because he sees that Damani has showed up and seems interested and all that good stuff. And they're both trying to give this little schoolgirl claim, like, we're not going to be co-parents. He's just giving me a donation, like he's at a blood drive or dropping off some old clothes down to the Goodwill. Ma'am, me, you, Maurice, everybody can see that there's chemistry there, there's compatibility, and while you may try to be removed from the situation, it's not going to work out that way. But we'll have to figure that out, of course, in the next season. All right. Hayne tells Andy that they have a meeting with Miss Willis. And she's like, I already know. Like, I'm going to run an errand. I'm going to mind my business. But I'll be back in time. But she does take this time to make a dig at him and remind him that sleeping his way to the top didn't work for Eddie Murphy and Boomerang. And it's not going to work for you. And I just thought that was funny. But it was funny because Andy gave it in like, she gave it in like Valley Girl shade. It didn't even like, it didn't hit like it was supposed to hit, but I still got a chuckle out of it. I just wanted to throw that in there. Okay. Fatima catches Gary outside, and he can damn near quote her speech verbatim. You're not going to get away with it, blah, 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 blah. Just giving her attitude, and he's not moved. He's not intimidated by any of it. And he also gives her, to add insult to injury, he sends a message for Zach and tells her to tell him, like, hey, and also tell your boy Zach that I'm safeguarding his money real well. Mind you, Zach gave some money to Gary to invest that he now legally owns because of some caveat within the contract, even though he basically stealing the money legally. And so now he's just digging that, turning that knife in a little bit further. And then he tells his security guard, like basically he sicks his security guard on Fatima and tells her like, secure her purse, keep her away from me, whatever, whatever. And then the security guard is so forceful that he pushes her down and snatches her purse from her all in the same motion. And then once Gary is at a safe distance, he throws the purse back to her, right? And that was the last straw when it comes to the Fatima and the Gary fiasco. And if ain't nobody else gonna get it done, your girl Fatima is going to get it done. And I'll tell you about that when she makes the call by the end of the episode. Okay. Gary calls and tells Andy, like, listen, it's not going to work. You done sicked your little dumb friends on me. Like, you sick Fatima on me. You sent Jordan over here to try to charge me up. It ain't happening. Now, what I advise you to do is settle down and meet me at the altar in your white dress, my girl. Because if you don't, Jordan's going to end up in the bottom of Lake Lanier. And if you don't know what Lake Lanier is, don't nobody want to be at the bottom. Or nowhere near Lake Lanier if you got good sense. But, quick Google search will answer that for you. All right. Zach and Aaron are still arguing about these cribs, right? But Aaron is almost done. And Zach, I don't even think he really got everything out the box. Like, he ain't even taking all the parts A, B, C, and D out the box. He can't even locate the instructions. That's how far behind he is in this project, right? And so Lisa reminds them that, hey, this is just a small example of issues that you guys are going to continue running into until you learn to work together. Once these kids are here, we're going to have bigger things to collaborate on, more things we need to work on as co-parents, because you guys are co-parents. And what you need, what I advise y'all to do is know and recognize that one of you guys are going to be better at some things than the other person. And what I also advise y'all to do is to applaud the strengths of one person and relinquish that control. And then fill in for those weaknesses and be of assistance. Again, in this microcosm example, she tells Zach, go home and crunch some numbers. Let's figure out some investment options to make sure both of these kids have a great financial start. And I'll let Aaron finish not only his crib, but your crib. So Aaron's going to be our boots on the ground, manual labor leg of the race, and Zach is going to be the brains of the operation. Now, I'm not sure if Zach is going to be the money guy first. Let's not say he's going to be the money guy. Let's give him another role because he only got his tip from a random lady on a airplane to spite her upcoming ex-husband. And it's not Miss Willis, it's some white lady, child. I don't remember her name. But that don't make him a stock expert. Let's just, maybe she's presuming he learned something since that insider trading that he did. I don't know. Let's just go with it for now. But this ain't the money guy, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. The guys, the trio or whatever, they're talking to Rich, and Tony is trying to really get to the bottom of what Rich is thinking, and he's asking him, hey, are you certain that you don't want to have kids? And he's like, yeah, I don't see them in the grand picture that I have in my life. And he reminds them like, hey, I grew up in a big family, and I damn near have claustrophobia, and it just took a toll on my mental health, and so I don't think so. And so you kind of see where he might be unsure. However, all up until now, he has been certain. And again, I don't know if there is a true mind shift change, or if this is a fleeting desire because you are in competition with Damani, whether consciously or subconsciously, right? But to go back to the big family thing, I see what he is saying because I also grew up in a big family. I guess big, oldest of 6, whatever, siblings, blah, blah, blah. And I see the reservation because I don't got no crotch monsters either, right? Sorry, guys, I like the term crotch monsters. And there is a internal debate that happens, especially the closer you get to the proverbial clock that people talk about, where you have to or should or whatever, I don't tell grown people what to do, decide, do I really not want them, or was I never in a space where I could entertain the thought of being able to have them? Oh, not y'all too deep in my business. Cut it out. Anyway, I'm just, that's my honest opinion. Like, I see where Rich could be conflicted in his no, because his no may not be an absolute no. However, no's change in life. Maybe it was no up until this point, and maybe this is the instant that changes that no. However, the no was very quick. I mean the yes that we're getting now is quick, and you haven't had time to sit in that yes and determine like, okay, something has changed in my mind, and now I'm willing to entertain the thought. What changed? And is this not a fleeting thought? Again, I'll tell y'all some of my business now. My no is like a soft no. It ain't a concrete absolute no. It is I won't be mad if I get there type of no. It's a maybe. It's a maybe now. It's not a no. It's a maybe. Because I'm now certain that I can be who I need to be, and that my husband can be who I know him to be. It is safe to do so. It's comfortable, and I won't jump off a bridge about it. Right. Okay, that's enough. Either way, so maybe his mind has changed, but I just want him to settle in the change and make sure that he really wants to do this thing. However, by the end of this episode, I don't know, it might be too quick, but we'll see. We'll talk about it. It's time for Sabrina to head back for the egg retrieval process. And everybody's like, girl, you want to go back there by yourself, or you want to take somebody with you? She's like, you know what? I do want somebody to go with me. Child, you see all the girlfriends step up like hand in hand, like, okay, girl, we ready. And she's like, no, ma'am, no, Pam. I want Damani. I want my boy Damani to go back there with me. And, not with this energy or whatever. It was just like, come on, Damani. And everybody looking like, ooh. And ooh, my bad, girl. And so, everybody's looking like, that's very odd for a donor. Like, he's just here to donate. Y'all skipping off to the appointment hand in hand. Again, chemistry. This is where you're supposed to be, my girl. But Rich is going to try to throw his little monkey back in the game. But we'll get there. Okay. Andy and Maurice are small talking while waiting for Sabrina to come back up, get done with what she's needing to do. And he asked about Miss Willis, just small talk. And he was like, yeah, girl, I saw it online that you her counsel, blah, 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 blah. And Andy's trying to stick to her attorney-client privilege. And Maurice is like, okay, girl, you won't tell me the name of Mrs. Willis's fifth husband. I'm going to look him up myself. And so he goes on whatever site he finds, and he finds Mr. Roger Willis on the interwebs. And he's like, Roger's, that's Miss Willis's husband. And Andy can't deny it now. Like, he found it on his own. I guess the privilege is out the window, right? And she's like, yes, but, like, you know, trying to half-ass answer it. And he's like, you know him as Roger, but I know him as, you know, Love Me Long Time, or whatever the screen name is for Mr. Roger. If you can recall, when Maurice and Sabrina were fighting those charges, he had to supplement his income by signing up for a site called Fantasize or Fetishize or something to that effect, where he's like a webcam model, so to speak, and people would pledge their funds for his virtual entertainment. Got it? Okay. And it turns out that Mr. Willis sorry. Turns out that Mr. Willis has been a consistent customer for the last couple months. A loyal client, so to speak. And so this is going to be interesting, because this is exactly what Andy needs to get the leg up on Hayden, you know, to get back in the good graces of Miss Willis, to prove his infidelity, all that in one fatal swoop. So Andy, you got to put this wedding stuff out your mind. Like, you got to get on your Zoom, use this information to get what you need to get done, and then cross that off of your list of fires that you have to put out. Okay? All right. And then we see Rich. He comes running into the waiting room as if he left the stove on and there's an egg boiling and the water's very low in the pot, right? Looking for Sabrina. Where's Sabrina? Where's Sabrina? And Danny's like, baby, you too late. They're already gone. The process has begun. And he is giving very much Dwayne Wayne in that episode when whatever her name is, was about to get married, right? He runs past the nurse and he runs back into the waiting room and he's giving his best, baby, please, baby. Like I said, like Dwayne did, Dwayne Wayne did when Whitley Gilbert was about to get married. It was giving very much that, right? And now he wants to step up, and he told her, I want to donate my sperm, you know, get this punk Damati out of here. I'm what you need, baby. Like, I'm ready to do this. Again, could be a fleeting emotion, and this is a very permanent decision for a temporary emotion, if that is what it is. So we'll see what I'm sure we'll see a glimpse into what happens with that in the next episode, and that is how the episode ends. Next time on the season finale, we see Fatima tell Zach about Gary, you know, and things getting physical, and he wanted to put them paws on him. It just is what it is. We also see that Hayden appears to have found out about Gary and Tamara, and he wants a piece of the Gary pie as well, right? And everybody wants his head on a platter. I don't know where I missed it at, but there was a conversation. You see Fatima on the phone with her cousin, Madam. We have to cross series is here, and Madam is Fatima's cousin. She is a mob boss-esque type person on another Tyler Perry series entitled All the Queen's Men. She evades FBI agents. She's very well connected to mobsters and all that stuff since she's been a kid. Her dad, that whole family is like, you know, like I said, crime boss type people. And so she's going to ask for a favor. And of course, this favor, I'm sure, is going to be that Mr. Gary Marshall Borders gonna need a death certificate. That's just what's gonna happen. So now we're just going to have to race and see who's gonna get their paws on Gary first. And I just wonder what it feels like to be the most hated man in Atlanta at this particular point. But I'm excited about it. It's scary. I'm looking forward to see who gonna get to him first. Either way, that has been season 7, episode 21. I'll see y'all in the next episode. Let's talk about this one in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is that you feel like doing. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.